You know, if you've been around the automotive world for any time at all, you know that vintage hot rods play a huge part in the image and the history of motorsports. And there's just some things that people expect to see on a hot rod. One is a chopped top. Another is louvers. Then, of course, there's the side exhaust and the loud exhaust. And then there's the hot engine. There's the vibrant paint. Then, of course, there's pinstriping. And when you mention pinstriping, there's one name that always comes up: Von Hot Rod. But just who is this Von Hot Rod guy and where'd he come from? That's what we're about to show you. How many pieces do you think you do a year? Von Hot Rod started out like most of us, hanging around shops and wrenching on cars. And before long, he developed quite a reputation as a builder and a racer in Southern California.
I was born into the industry, kind of one of those things where Dad was a sprint car driver, drag racer, and kind of destined to be in the industry. So I was a little kid that used to hand him wrenches. I remember handing him wrenches, and when I'd hand them to him, I'd always have a rag in my hand, and I'd clean them and make sure they're all chrome and polished and give them to him. It used to drive him nuts.
With a natural skill of building and pinstriping cars, it wasn't long before Von Hot Rod had one of the premier shops in California.
I started with this shop called Hot Rods. I named it after me, and we built, you know, street rods, hot rods, and custom cars. And I've always had clothes made for me to match the shop. So people started asking me, well, where do you get this stuff? And I go, I just have it made for me. It's a little pricey. Well, would you make me one? I said, sure. So one went into one, two, three, four, a dozen, and we just started doing clothes.
But as cool as that is, there was another thing that Von Hot Rod felt compelled to do, and it's not what you think.
A lot of guys will come up and talk to me where they won't go talk to a preacher guy, if you want to call it that, or a suit and tie guy. We start just talking about each other's lives, and then they find out that I'm a Christian man, and then they say, oh, I wish I could live that way, but I can't because I have this bad habit. And, you know, we just get sharing with each other's lives, and it's really interesting. And that just opens another door of somebody learning about their lives, and again, learning about the industry, that there's guys out there that are Christian men or men of God, however you want to look at it, that are in this sports industry, that not just artists, but drivers and fabricators and welders and creators. They're all out there.
He may not have ended up as a missionary in a third world country, but Von Hot Rod brings a message of faith to hot rodders, drag racers, and car enthusiasts all around the world. And just so you know, that's the only guitar like it, so, you know, just, no pressure.
Oh, okay.
In just a few short years, Von Hot Rod quickly became one of the most well-known pinstripers in the business, developing his own line of brushes and jewelry and other products, and eagerly putting his styling on everything from cars to shoes to, well, you name it.
A guy walks out and goes, hey, would you stripe something weird? I'm so, as long as it's not a weird body part, yeah, we're okay. He goes, okay, how about my glass eye? I said, as long as it's not in your head, I'll stripe it. So he pops his glass eye out, and I striped the glass eye.
And all the time, he's never forgotten who he is and what he stands for, in spite of the crazy lifestyle and culture that's around him.
I'd go to somebody's house or garage or studio to stripe a car, and they'd always have a case of beer for me, but I didn't drink, or they'd have a bottle of wine, and that was the norm. That was what they were used to. And that's not putting a bad name on a pinstripe or anything like that, but that's just, everything was typecast. Everything was like that. And I just want to rep it that way because I know there's a kid like I was watching Ed Roth. Somebody's watching Von Hot Rod, so to speak, and I want to leave an impression with that kid that he thinks, well, if he can do it, so can I. You know, it's just, like I said, if we don't train the youth of today, you know, our industry dies down.
So, if you go to a hot rod show and you see a cool-looking pinstriper there with a long line of people wanting to get something pinstriped, you can pretty much figure it's Von Hot Rod, and you might as well just get in line because he's the real deal, both as a car guy and as a pinstriper and as a real person, and that's a cool combination.